Welcome to Baby and Us, a series of short videos to help you feel calm, confident and connected with your new baby.
Hi, I'm Susanna.
And I'm Leah.
And we'll also be joined by some of our amazing parent group leaders who will share real life experiences with their own babies.
Today, we'll be talking to you about connecting with your baby. So now we're going to think about our babies, and I want you to think about 2 points. Are babies born social? And why are babies social? I think the main things we're thinking about is to tune into their parents, supporting the bond between parent and child, to get their needs met, and also to promote survival. Because babies, they seek that interaction from us, and when we respond, they connect and try to communicate back with us.
Take a moment to think about how you communicate with your baby and when do you communicate with your baby. What are the benefits of talking to your baby? You might want to pause and write some ideas down. So the big one is that it helps them to learn languages. So that's a really, really key benefit. It also teaches them about the world around them. So if you're describing shapes and colours and what's happening, that's going to support them to learn that language, but also to understand what those things are. It helps to build the bond between parent and baby, and it can be really fun having those communications with your baby. You don't realise how much your child understands until they're quite a bit older, and probably until they're more than one and a half maybe, and they can suddenly follow instructions. You know, if you ask them to pass you something and they know what it is, and they understand so much more than they can say, that it's really difficult to know at what point that understanding sort of switches on. And actually it's a gradual process, isn't it? So in terms of the brain development that's happening that supports that language learning, when babies are exposed to language really early on, their neurons, the connections between their neurons become strengthened, and that lays down the foundation for later language learning. So you're building that foundation for their cognitive development by providing that stimulation early on. And the other thing is that if you're doing that in a fun and playful way, it's going to activate the reward centres in your baby's brain. And when those things are activated, it means that whatever's causing that activation is more likely to be repeated. So babies are going to seek out that interaction themselves. And so that's how that language learning is supported by fun, playful communication with your baby. And one of the ways that you can do this is by using descriptive commenting. Descriptive commenting just means talking about anything and everything to your baby, from what you're doing, like putting them in the buggy, or describing clothes as you hang them up.
Growing up, there was not a lot of access to books as it is now. So all I've seen my parents and grandparents do when there's a baby in their house is to talk to them about just anything and everything is talking. So I was quite surprised that it's something that is, I just thought it's something that you have to do. I didn't realize there was a science behind it. I talk to them about everything, silly things, when I'm sad, when I'm happy, when I'm angry. You know, probably I've just come off a phone call, very annoying phone call, and you see me talking to the baby. That lady on the phone was really rude. I'm very, very angry. How dare they talk to me like that? Then I literally talk to the baby about my experience, or if I've had a happy phone call or a nice phone call, I'll just talk to the baby. The lady, the guy on the phone was really nice. They said this, they said that.
The more language that they hear, the better they learn to speak themselves, and also to describe things and to look at things and to and to be just to communicate. I'm sure the more that you talk to them, And it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be anything really deep and meaningful. You can just just buttering the toast. Oh, we burned that bit. Oh, just anything. Just talk about what you're doing. Yeah.
I remember telling him that the Christmas trees, you have the circle things and you put them in, and it puts the netting on the Christmas tree. Well, I'd never known how they got them into a net, and I suddenly realised this, and I was shared this amazing discovery with my toddler. I was like, oh wow! And then I kept pointing them out every time I saw them. And I mean, obviously that's completely irrelevant to a baby who doesn't understand the words. But I think it's just like he could probably hear that I was intrigued and hear that in my voice, and it gives you something to point out and spot. So yeah, I think it's just about remembering that if you're going to be saying something to your child, it doesn't have to be groundbreaking. It's just talking about the Monday and they're hearing your voice.
So we know it isn't always possible to give your babies 100% of your attention and to have that connection all of the time. There's bound to be some breaks in the connection when maybe if you're distracted, if you're doing something, or just looking at your phone. And that's fine, that's inevitable. But it's really important that you find those opportunities to reconnect with your baby. So another way that you can use descriptive commenting is with treasure baskets. So a treasure basket is just a collection of everyday objects that you can present to your baby for them to explore. So they're probably aimed at babies who can sit up but aren't very mobile yet, so about 6 months. But you can actually use them for younger babies or for older babies. So I think for younger babies, I used to do something similar with tummy time, where I just put a few objects out in front of my daughter when she was doing tummy time, and she could choose what to play with. And really, it's just a bit of an opportunity for the baby to explore some different objects. So we've got a few examples of some of the objects that you might want to choose. So Leah, do you want to go first? Tell me what you brought.
So I've got an avocado.
Oh.
So the whole idea around treasure baskets as well is that objects need to be relatively natural.
Yes.
So I thought an avocado was quite a good one because it's nice and bumpy, it's cold, and it's got a good feel to it. So I thought that was quite a good one. And here's some keys that I've sterilised in Milton. They're jagged and cold and irregular in shape. And the spoon, it's metal and smooth and rounded at the end.
So I've got some things that will be stimulating other senses. So I've got the first one, which is a bit rattly. So I'm going to show it to you, and then I'm going to put it away and talk. So that is a foil blanket from if someone's run a marathon or a race, they give out those foil blankets at the end, and they're wonderfully, they make a really nice noise. They're shiny, so babies like looking at them. They're quite a funny texture, so they're sort of smooth but really crinkly, and so that can be quite a fun one to describe to babies and to explain to them what they're looking at. The next object I found is a spatula. So this is quite a good one because it's got a nice smooth, hard wooden end, and then a soft, bendy green end that's probably quite chewy if babies put it in their mouth, so they might feel different texture, different sensation on their mouth, and they may enjoy tapping or banging with that one. So that might be quite a good one to explore. And the last thing I brought is I don't know what you call these things, a loofah. This one's actually a little bit wet because I got it out of the bathroom, so you could talk about it being wet. It feels, again, it's sort of scrunchy and squishy, so babies might like squeezing it. It smells quite nice, so it's quite nice and smelly. So those are some of the different things that you might describe with your treasure baskets. So really the idea is that you just look around your house. It's a low cost, no cost activity, and just create your own basket and see how your baby responds. So really sit back, let your baby explore and describe to them what they're feeling, what they're smelling, what they're seeing, but let them decide how they want to play with things.
So I use treasure baskets with my son because it's just a nice way to entertain them, I guess, like on a low budget. And it's actually amazing how, like, such a small item, such as, I don't know, if you give them a fair cone or something, how like amazing they can find it. So he was really quite excited about it, and he wanted to show me things as well. So although I wasn't interfering, like, he would, you know, get stuck in there, and then he would want me to share that with him. So it was nice because it was connection, but it was initiated by him.
So our take-home message from today is babies are social beings, and they'll try and communicate with us and respond when we communicate with them. So it's the same as having a person, your friend, your mum, whoever it is that you speak to and that you communicate with. The baby is the same. We can use descriptive commenting as a way of building babies' communication skills and strengthening our connection with babies.
So there's a few things for you to give it a go at home. So the first thing to give a go is to try the descriptive commenting with your baby. So you can do that just with everyday tasks that you're doing. Give your baby a chance to explore using a treasure basket and practice using descriptive commenting when they're doing that. So I hope you found this useful, and thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching.
We'll see you soon.